guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be taking this big men's shirt and changing it into a beautiful boob tube bustier. I absolutely love the way that this turned out. And if you want to find out how, just keep watching. So first of what I've done is I've actually cut off the bottom curve part of the shirt to make it a nice straight line. I'm going to lay it out flat on my desk, and I'm going to take my measuring tape and I'm going to measure out 35 centimeters and measure this from the bottom to the top and draw a straight line across with my pencil so that I have an even straight line all the way across. I'm then going to take my ruler and connect those dots together. I then go ahead and cut it out with my handy dandy scissors. And then we're left with this piece. The first thing I'm going to do is unbutton all the buttons of my shirt and lay it out nice and flat on the table so that it is open. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to double fold the top part of my top. This is going to create a lovely folded seam for my top and bottom part, and to make sure that my shirt does not fray. And I'm going to stitch a lovely straight stitch all the way around. This is my sewing machine that I stole from my mother-in-law. So as you see, I folded it in and I'm just going to pin it in place. There we go, and we're just going to do a straight stitch all the way across. Just remember that when you stitch, you do need to make sure you're going forward and back so that you are locking that beginning of your stitch in place, as well as when you end off your seam, you need to do the same thing. And here is our beautiful seam from the inside and from the outside. Next up, I'm going to draw a curve with my pencil from the top button. That's going to be the top part of our top. This is going to make sure that we're creating a curve to actually make the cup shape in our shirt. So I'm doing this as a guide for when I use my bra in the next step. Go and find your best bra that fits you quite well. Mine looks huge, geesh. And then you're going to line up your bra wire with the curve that we've just drawn and take the pencil and draw the outline of your cup. This is to make sure that the cup of your top fits you pretty well and it's nice and structured. And then go ahead and do it on the other side as well with the other cup. Then we are going to take our top, turn it around whatever way is comfortable, and we are going to cut out each cup part using our scissors, of course. There we go. Next, we need to cut up some fabric for our actual cups, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the excess shirt that we do have, unbutton it, and find a nice clean surface for us to cut that out from. I'm going to measure my bra and I'm going to take it from across the cup. Mine measured to 22 centimeters. To that 22 centimeters, I'm going to add 4 centimeters just because we are rouging our top, and then I'm going to take it from top to bottom of our cup. And this was 16 centimeters for me. I'm going to add another 4 centimeters on to make that 20 centimeters. I'm then going to take these measurements to draw a beautiful rectangle from the shirt, and this will just make sure that I have the correct measurements, because I cannot cut a straight line to save my life. And then we're just going to cut it out beautifully. Once that is cut out, we're going to lay it on top of another part that is equally as big, and we're going to draw up the outline of it around, and we're going to cut it out so that we have 2 equal pieces for our cups. Once we've got our cups, we're going to put them one on top of the other, and what we're going to do is we're going to draw on the one side of the rectangle, we're going to draw a lovely little curve. This is going to make sure, because obviously our boobs aren't square, so we need to make sure that our cups are curving in just a little bit, and it will help cup your bust area a lot better. Once you're done drawing your curve, you can then actually fold the double layer in half, and then what I do is I take pins to pin down the area that I'm not cutting to make sure that it's not budging in any way, and I use my scissors to just cut off the excess material. Remove your pins, close it so it doesn't fly everywhere, and then we have our beautifully symmetrical cups. Next up, we're just going to zigzag stitch the top part of our cup so that the fabric does not fray. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take any piece of elastic that you're using and we're going to measure it and double fold our top part of our cup. We need to make a casing for the elastic to lie in, so what we do is we actually test it beforehand. Take a pin and just pin it in place. Don't pin your elastic to the top part of your cup, just make sure that you're pinning the actual casing. And then stitch a straight line across. Remember, don't stitch the elastic in it because we need the elastic to be long enough and loose enough so that we can actually ruche it at the top. Just like that. Beautiful. Then we're going to do that to both of the actual tops, and we're going to take our elastic and safety pin the one part. This is going to be so much easier to, I call it shush. I don't know what the actual name is, but to just pull the elastic all the way from the one side to the other side. I haven't cut it at a certain length yet, so we're just going to make sure we shush it all the way through. Once you've gotten to the end, you can unpin your safety pin and just take a straight pin and pin that elastic in place. Just like that. Then you're going to lay it onto your cup of your top that you've cut out and lay the part that is pinned down by the button. And what you're going to do is you're going to pull the fabric so that your cup fits on the elastic and that your elastic is long enough for the top part of your cup. This makes sure that it is snugly fit onto your chest and your boobs aren't falling out. Once I've got it there, I'm going to pick up my fabric and do the exact same thing. Pin the elastic to the fabric, and then because I've measured it, I can cut the excess off. Awesome. Make sure to stitch both sides where we have pinned and do this to both cups. Beautiful. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to do a straight stitch all the way around the cup where we have not sewed yet. It needs to be a straight stitch because what we're going to do is we're actually going to pull the string to make a ruched effect or a gathered effect on our cup. Make sure you leave nice long pieces of string on each end. You're going to pull the top string and gather all that material. This takes a very long time, guys, but it is a great process and it's something that you need to do for your top to look amazing. Don't pull too hard because your thread can actually break. So take your time with it. I actually did this. I went to bed and I carried on the next day. So make sure it's looking great. There we go. Let's do this to the other one. It looks like a headache. There we go. Now you're going to turn your top inside out. You can see my buttons are facing the inside, and you're going to take your cup and turn that inside out as well. You're then going to line it up with your cups that you've cut out, and you're going to pin the sides together. So you're going to pin the right sides together, although it is inside out. And do that all the way around the cup. Make sure that no part of the cup is gathered too much. Make sure it's evenly gathered and evenly ruched and just the way you like it before you pin it in. You're more than welcome to pin, to have a look, take your pin out and try again. So that's what you see me doing right now, is I'm making sure that it is all sorted. So it should look like this. There we go. And you take it to the machine and you do a lovely straight stitch. I did a straight stitch. You can do a zigzag, whatever's best for you, you decide. Awesome. And then because the shirt was too big for me, I took off 6 centimeters from each side. I drew a lovely straight line on both sides of my top, as you can see. I then decided to take my pins and pin along this straight line. All you're going to do is you're going to stitch a straight line or a zigzag line and then cut off the excess fabric, and you should be left with this. Halfway done. Last thing is the sleeves. You're going to take the leftover bits of your material. You should have the arms of the shirt left over. You're going to measure 15 centimeters on both sides of this shirt. And then take your ruler to connect those dots together. I've taken the arms of the shirt because it actually has a gradient from going from big to small. And if you look at your forearm, your biggest part is from under your armpit, and it goes smaller as you go down your arm. So I thought it was a great idea to take the sleeves of the arm and just take your handy dandy scissors and cut them apart. I've put the two on top of one another because then you have two equal parts. And you're left with two beautifully equal parts. You're then going to take your elastic. You measure the top part under your armpit, as I said, and the lower part 15 centimeters down. You take your top elastic, measure it exactly like we did with our cups. We're going to create a casing for this elastic and just pin all the way down so that it's easier for us to stitch. Do this with the top part of the sleeve as well as the bottom part of the sleeve, and you should be left with this. I've also done a straight pin at the top part where I actually want to leave it open and I don't want to stitch because I need to make sure that I am able to still thread my elastic through my top part of my sleeve before. So we're going to straight stitch the top and the bottom casings. Trevor's coming to check up on me. Awesome. Now what you're going to do for your elastics is exactly like we did for the cup. We're going to pin the one side of our elastic with a safety pin. And this time it's a little bit different because we are going to be taking a second safety pin. And we're going to take the elastic and pin it to the opening of our bottom casing or your top casing. This way your elastic doesn't get lost inside of the casing because our elastic is smaller than our sleeve. This is because we need to get our ruching effect, and you're just going to shush the elastic all the way through. Once you get to the end, unsafety pin both and then just pin it together. Once we are done with both sides, the top and the bottom elastic, you can do a straight stitch to connect the two ends of the elastic together. Straight stitch it together, and then you're going to fold it in and straight stitch across the part where you have not stitched yet. And voila, 2 sleeves. As you see, I've turned my top inside out. Don't turn your top inside out. Leave your top the wrong way around. I actually figured this out after I'd done my entire stitching and I'd done it wrong. So leave your top the right way around. Leave your sleeve the right way around. Take your sleeve and pin it to the side seam of your top. Just put a pin there, and all you're going to do is you're going to use a straight stitch to just join those two parts together. So I'm going to repeat again. Make sure your top is the right way out as well as your sleeve, and just pin them together. I was about to try it on, and as I tried it on, I was like, no, this is wrong. I also stitched the middle part between the buttons because I didn't want that part to pop open when I actually had the top on. So I stitched it closed so that you don't get that gaping hole in between it. And then I also just stitched on the top bottom in between my 2 cups because I'd taken it off earlier in the video. And then, ladies and gentlemen, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, your shirt is done. I absolutely love the way the shirt turned out. It's a lovely fit, and it's fit just to me. Something so simple from just a men's shirt that's laying in your cupboard. But if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, as well as subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to see some more. See you guys in the next video.